WOKD, Winter Garden, Orlando.
Hello. Edition of Real Family
Welcome to
Talk.
Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. I hope everybody's having a great evening. I say it every week, man. I hope everybody's having a great evening, man. We're having a good time tonight. It's going to be a great show. Again, Real Family Talk. Let me go ahead and welcome everybody in the building. Mr. King's in the building. How you doing, Mr. King?
My brother. It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday,
I'm
brother.
in the place to be.
That's right, the place to be on Wednesday.
Indeed.
Jamba's in the house. How you doing, Jamba?
I'm doing amazing. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, Jamba. I was off today.
Ooh.
It's a beautiful thing.
I'm jealous.
Jeremy's in the building. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. And Frank's here with us tonight. Frank Torres. How you doing, Frank?
Great. It's great to be back here with all you great people here this evening.
Back in the studio this week.
Back in the studio this
You
week.
have to call this week.
I showed up for work this week.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So we're going to get right into this thing. What that we're going to jump in. Actually, I wanted to acknowledge something. I don't know if you've been listening here on 1680 a.m. in the mornings, but they actually have a new morning show, the D. Lee Show. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. There's a new the D. Lee Show is here in the mornings, and they've been doing a pretty good job going on this well. I guess he's trying to inform me something here. But yeah, it's been it's a 1-2 punch, he tells me, with the Yolanda Adams show. Okay, all right. My bad. Okay, the Yolanda Adams and the D. Lee Show. Okay, there you go. 1-2 punch of the Yolanda Adams and the D. Lee Show. Chris Shaw gave me straight on that. Appreciate you, Chris Shaw. But but they've been here in the mornings, and they've been doing a great job. So if you haven't
you need to listen in the morning. That's all.
I do listen in the morning.
That brother ain't called in. He ain't listening.
I do listen in the morning.
That brother don't wake
Perhaps
up
what
till
it's
10 o'clock.
You know what it is? I don't listen until about 8:30.
Oh,
so
there it is.
At 8:30, that's what I'm hearing.
Oh, okay. There it is.
I guess we can excuse you then.
At 8:30, see, that's what I hear is the D. Lee Show. So that's what I thought. But yeah, so yeah, they're coming on in the morning. Check them out. They're doing a real good job in the morning. He actually introduced an artist. I guess it's going to be at one of his shows that's coming up. Christian Grey, man. I never heard of the guy, but they played a song by him. I think if I remember right, the song was called "Wanna." Man, Jeremy, I'm telling you, bruh. you want to check Christian Grey out if you haven't heard of him. The brother is that song. I don't know. For me, when I heard that "Wanna" song, I was surprised. I would assume too he's a Christian artist.
I was is he a rapper?
But you know, what I loved about the song is the type of song that could cross over any format. You really couldn't pin it down to a gospel song. It was just a great song, and so that's what really struck me about it. Like I said, the Christian Grey is his name. The song is called "Wanna." Is that in the computer, Chris Shaw? Oh, okay. All right, not yet. But yeah, man, I was gonna say, let's just hear just a minute of that. I'm telling you, that song. It was a bad song, man.
That song must have been powerful. I never used to see you request gospel.
Busted.
Hey,
Got him.
I know that must be. Whoa. I'm gonna have to Google him. I'm gonna have to Google him.
You have to Google it, man. For sure. Check him out, man. Check him out. But yeah, they're doing their thing in the morning, man. So shout out to them. Shout out to the D. Lee Show. That 1-2 punch. That 1-2 punch with Yolanda Adams in the D. Lee Show in the morning. But we're here with Frank. We're going to talk some politics. You know, the election's coming up November 4th. We're about 2 weeks away. Early voting has started, people. Early voting has started in Orange County. I specifically remember their times. I don't know why, but I do. But they're open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in Orange County. You can go actually to our website, not a website, to our Facebook, and I have the links up on our Facebook as far as the different times and the locations for early voting. So that's happening now for the next 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That for the next 2 weeks, early voting. So it's open. They're open on Saturdays. They're open on Sundays. Sundays, so the excuses are not there. I know if you work Monday through Friday, it's kind of hard to get over there, some places like that sometimes, but Saturday and Sunday, they're open too. So please go early vote. If not, remember the major voting day is November 4th. Please go out and vote. And support whatever candidates that you want to support for office. Please make sure that you do that. So getting into that conversation, Frank's here. Frank's going to talk to us about, we got a caller. How you doing tonight, caller?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
We're doing all right. What's your name, caller?
My name is Evangelist Kerr or Hermia Kerr.
Okay, all right. Hi. What's your comment tonight, Evangelist?
Well, I listen to you guys all the time, and since you guys are talking about politics, I think this is appropriate to tell you that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. the third is going to be at the Worship Center, 8001 Silver Star Road, this Saturday from 11 to 1 with Kareem Brown and stuff like that. So
okay.
I just wanted the public to know that.
And what time?
From 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. this coming Saturday, the 25th of October.
Okay, and give me that in the name of the place and the location one more time.
Okay, the name of the place is the Worship Center.
The Worship Center, okay.
It's 8001 Silver Star Road.
8001 Silver Star Road, Dr. Martin Luther King III, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, and the pastor there is Pastor Frank Thompson.
Frank Thompson. All right, we thank you, Evangelist. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And later on, I want to call and tell you about a play coming up December 6th also.
Okay, that sounds good.
God bless.
All right, appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. So, yeah, Frank's here. He's going to talk to me. We had the third of the three debates for Florida governor happened yesterday over in Jacksonville. There was no fan issue, so thank God for that.
Thank God for that.
But go ahead, give us a recap, Frank. What did we take away? What did we learn?
Well, this was the third and final debate between Governor Rick Scott and former Governor Charlie Crist. The first debate was a Spanish language debate on a Friday night at 7 o'clock. I called it the date night killer because everybody that was involved with politics had to stay in and watch it. It was also in Spanish, so it couldn't reach a large audience. It was a smaller debate. The second debate was the complete opposite. It was Fangate. That was the one we talked about last week. I had to call in because people lost their mind over an electric fan at the base of Charlie Crist's podium.
Right.
Everybody just, I'm sure all of you guys have seen the jokes on television and on social media and all those things, and that was pretty crazy. Now, last night was just a plain out nasty argument between the two candidates. They didn't change. There wasn't anything new on the issues. Charlie Crist is still supporting most of the Democratic issues, the left-leaning issues. Rick Scott is still a conservative Republican supporting all the right-sided issues. But you saw them go at each other over their upbringings. Who had money growing up? How did they get to where they got? Mm-hmm. What was their path in life that got them to the governor's mansion? And it got really personal at times. You had Charlie Crist painting Governor Scott as a heartless millionaire and his private jet soaring above the middle class without a care in the world. And then you had Rick Scott sort of painting Charlie as a well-off person who's never had to work in their life, and the two went back and forth, and there was a lot of damage done between the two. If you weren't crazy about the candidates last night, you probably liked them even less after watching during that hour. And what's worse is this debate was on CNN, so the whole country got to see what we're working with down here in Florida. So I mean,
not much.
Now that's the thing I don't like. These last few years, SNL get on Florida it's like stop putting gas on the fire. Stop putting gas on the fire. We got to do something. Disney need to throw a come to Florida campaign or something. I don't know.
We do it to ourselves, man. We just keep putting ourselves in these situations with these characters we got running for office, and we can't count votes right. We can't, we just gotta. We're just a little bit special down here. That's all. But
that's what it is.
But the voters should have a good idea of who they're going to vote for. Hopefully, it is mostly going to be along party lines, which means it's all about turnout. Florida's blue, Orange County's blue. If Democrats turn out, then Charlie Crist is going to have a good shot. If Democrats stay home, then Rick Scott will probably win. Republicans tend to do better in midterms. There's not as much hype. There's not a presidential race on the ballot. so they statistically do better during the midterm. So it's all about turnouts. Big turnout, Charlie wins. No turnout or low turnout, Rick Scott wins. So it's going to be knotted all the way to the end, and it's going to be a really tight race.
We'll see. I'm hoping it's a low turnout and Rick Scott wins.
You hoping Rick Scott wins. Wow.
That's an endorsement. That's an endorsement.
That's deep right there.
That says a lot about the show.
Tweet it. Throw it out there.
That's deep right there.
Don't let anybody else hear it.
We'll see, man. We'll see what happens.
Hey, you endorse. He's going to be in town. You endorse him. You might pop in. You might get an exclusive with the governor.
Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. Rick Scott doesn't talk to us like that.
All the more reason trying to figure out why you're voting for him.
And by us,
why you
not going
endorsing
into
him,
that.
I should
and
say.
by us, you mean radio host.
Radio.
He doesn't talk to radio host.
Didn't talk to radio.
Yeah.
Okay. But he got your vote.
407-894-1680. 407-894-1680. It's about principles, man. It's about principles.
That's a big principle to me.
Concepts.
You won't talk to me?
Concepts. But that's all right, brother. That's all right. That's all right. Well, so we're kind of in that. We've kind of seen that. I agree with you. They didn't say anything new under the sun at the debate last night. And quite frankly, I was getting kind of annoyed, too, because it did get back to, well, you grew up like this. Well, you grew up like this. Well, you don't know. My daddy we lived in a small apartment at one time. Really?
Charlie Chris jumped moderator.
But you got $100 million now.
Charlie Chris, he jumped moderator. He turned his body. He looked at Rick Scott and goes, "You don't know me." And I was like, I guess not.
It was so petty. It was so petty.
Yeah, a good way to describe it.
So petty.
And both these guys have low approval numbers, and not a lot of people like them. What you gonna do?
This is what you can do. Who was the independent dude again?
This independent dude was libertarian Adrian Wiley, who actually had an event here in Orlando this evening that I went to cover for OrlandoPolitics.com. He was a no-show, so
What had happened was
he had a business emergency.
There you go.
Which is what I was told by his running mate.
There you go.
And but there's a liberty. Right.
Things happen. So things come up. It wasn't a fan. I tell you that much. He didn't show up because, they didn't have a fan or they had a fan. The man had a serious situation come about that prevented him from coming to see and doing what he had to do. That's all. Let's take it for his word.
That's my responsibility. You take the quote and you print it. But those libertarians, they're not the most. They're a tired group because they're libertarians because they're tired of the Republicans. They're tired of the Democrats. So while most were understanding, there were 2 or 3 supporters out there that were like, "Hey, it's 7:00 on a Wednesday, and we came out here to see our guy. He ain't showing up."
Right, and we're 2 weeks from the election.
And we're 2 weeks from election. He's pulling.
No.
He's pulling anywhere between 6 to 12%.
It's 2 or 3. That's it. Everybody has the 2 or 3 in the bad apple call. I went to go see Miss Michelle Obama when she came.
Right.
And I was there from 11:30 until 3:30. Okay, mind you, people, I'm bow-legged. So the doctor say I'm not supposed to be standing up that long, okay?
Goodness.
I was standing up to see our first lady from 11:30 to 3:30, okay? I did graze her garment. So I have no complaints. I grazed the garment.
Touched the hem of the garment.
I touched the hem of the garment, and I felt money coming my way. I don't know what it was. It went through my hand like a shock. Just, 50s, hundreds. Don't get me started. But anyway, I endured that because I believed in what she was believing in. So if they believed in the libertarians, they would understand that sometimes things happen.
I think Adrian Wiley should have set you out there tonight instead of his running mate.
If you're listening, Adrian, cut me a check. I got you, bro.
You said more in 30 seconds than his running mate said all evening.
Oh, well, his running mate doesn't. He doesn't understand how the human mind works. 30 seconds. That's all you got. After 30 seconds, lost their attention.
But so it's going to be a wild governor's race all the way down to the end. It's going to be tight all the way to the end. It's going to be a lot of fun / frustrating at times to watch. So.
Okay, all right. Now, the other thing I asked you to talk to me about was the Florida Senate District 12 race. That's the race that involves Geraldine Thompson and I know you know the other guy's name. I can't remember.
Edward de Aguilera.
All right. So tell me about these two candidates.
State Senate District 12. The district consists of parts of Paramore, Pine Hills, Metro West. Geraldine Thompson has been the state senator for that seat for the last 2 years. Before those 2 years, it was State Senator Gary Siplin. As you'll recall, Gary Siplin tried to get his old job back in the primary against Geraldine. Geraldine beat him up easily because she had the support of the Democratic Party of Florida. So the district is blue. It does lean heavily her way, and she is favored moving into to this election 2 weeks from now. Edward de Aguilera, a moderate Republican, nonprofit director for an organization that helps Down syndrome. I call this the clean race. You know, both of these people have kept it clean. They've vowed, you know, to keep the bad talking, the negative talking down to a minimum. I've watched them debate 3 times, and they've kept it real clean and very respectful. And it's amazing how many good ideas you can get from candidates when you put aside all the dirty talking, all the the mudslinging, because they both got good ideas. But the district's going to lean Geraldine's way. It's not mission impossible for de Aguilera. If turnout stays remarkably low, Geraldine could be in a little bit of trouble. And from what I understand, he's walking very hard. But it's been a very clean, admirable race, and you really do wish that people would run like this more often. 2 good candidates, and we'll see where it goes from there.
What are some of those ideas that they're talking about?
Partnerships with businesses, but I'm talking about with substance. Geraldine's been a state lawmaker for, I believe, 8 or 10 years. You'll recall she was a state representative before she joined the Senate. And de Aguilera has a great business background. He stood up some fine charities, and he's a product of District 12. He's been there. He calls it home. And he's called it home for all of his life. So you got these good ideas coming back and forth. Now, de Aguilera is a Republican, and it's a Republican controlled legislature. So his angle is that he might be able to work with the majority up there better and get more done than Geraldine has.
Okay.
When you're a Democrat working in that legislature that's ruled by Republicans, you have to pick your battles and you have to pull out little victories. And most of the time, those victories are, budget items for community improvements and teaming up on legislation where everybody, regardless of your political affiliation, can agree on. Exactly. So it's going to be, it is Geraldine is favored. We'll see if de Aguilera can walk it out and get those supporters on his side and where it goes from there. If he should win, it will be one of the bigger upsets in the state. But regardless of who wins, there's still a lot of work to be done in State Senate District 12, and the next representative will have their work cut out for them as they head into legislative session next year.
All right. Anything else we need to be aware of, Frank?
Just I always say, just forget the commercials. Do some Google searches. A lot of things. There's a lot of county charter amendments right now.
Yes, there is.
Yeah,
I got my sample ballot.
You got your sample ballot.
Yes.
That language is very, very confusing.
Yes,
you don't know.
is.
On the state level, you got Amendment 1, which sets aside budget dollars for water conservation and protection. Amendment 2, medical marijuana. You guys are familiar with that one. Yep. That one's going to be tighter than we thought it was going to be. And then Amendment 3, you got, concerning some of the judicial appointments up there. Here in Orange County, it's even more confusing. You have different charter amendments having to do with what rules that the charter commission or the part of the county government can set, and do your research on those. That way you're not walking in and just guessing on these complicated charter amendments, because a lot of people do.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Beauty of Google.
The beauty of Google. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It tells you everything you want to know. And then some.
It even talks to you now.
Yes.
It does.
But is it all true?
And it tracks you as well. Everything you needed and didn't want all at the same time.
Yeah. Love-hate relationship.
Yes, you got to have a love-hate relationship with Google. I think Mr. King told me that they're going to be the biggest company in the world one day. Is that right, Mr. King?
Actually, they're going to sell and merge with Amazon. And when they merge with Amazon, that's when they'll become the biggest company in the world.
Okay.
Why would they? Never mind. That's another show.
That's another show. I know Mr. King had told me that one time. So
Yeah.
all right, man. Frank, man, we appreciate it. Get the people how they can find you, Frank.
You can find me at you can Google the Orlando Political Observer, and you'll find my website there. Or the web address is orlando-politics.com. And as always, I'll be on Fox 35 day in or almost day in and day out on the evening and afternoon and morning broadcasts, talking about everything we're talking about here. And on Twitter at Frank Torres net, and find me there. Let me know what my problem is. And you guys won't be alone. And as always, I'll be here for you guys if you need me.
All right, we appreciate it, man. Hey, before you go, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
I saw an ad today. They were running. They were running in Georgia. Apparently, it's meant for black people. Is what it's meant for, and it's meant to inspire us to go vote Democratic. So here's what it says. The ad says, if you want to prevent another Ferguson in their future, and what it has two little kids that are holding up signs, and then afterwards it says vote Democrat. Really?
Really?
I come on. So what are we blaming Republicans for everything that happened in Ferguson now? Is that it?
No,
You
what
just
we're
put
doing
Democrats
is
in office and Ferguson doesn't happen anymore?
You getting people to vote Democrat by any means necessary. That's what they do.
And I tell you what,
Come on,
that
man.
last phrase you said, by any means necessary,
Yes.
that is the rule for all political campaigns. Win at any cost legally, of course.
Right.
But no laws.
Sometimes.
When I saw that ad, I was like, really?
I'm sure some of that stuff they be saying ain't legal.
Come on. I mean, I get campaign smears, but really, if you vote Democratic, Ferguson won't happen no more.
Can it also be looked at as just kind of just a simple tactic to just kind of get you to vote, period?
No.
To get you in the booth?
Because
If they didn't say vote
Is
Democrat.
that too innocent to think?
Yeah, that's a little
That's
too
very
innocent.
naive.
It says vote Democrat.
Okay. As long as they vote, isn't that what we care about?
Yeah,
That's what I
that
care
is true.
about.
That
But
is
this
true.
The whole
ad
voice thing?
says if you vote
Let your voice
Democratic,
be heard.
Ferguson doesn't happen. And I'm just like, really?
Yeah, foolish.
That is just dumb. That's just dumb. Come on, man. Let's just be a little bit more honest about things. I'm sure a lot of those police officers that commit crimes probably are actually Democratic anyway. So that's not the
Probably vote
that's not the key.
Democratic.
That too. Hey Frank, man, we appreciate it. I know you gotta you want to run and get home. Frank's probably been going since 6 a.m.
Hey, these are my playoffs. Hey, on November 5th, hey, get me where you get me now, because on November 5th, they're not going to be able to find me.
Final, huh? All right, we appreciate it, man.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. A couple more things that I wanted to hit. There's a video that went viral this week as well. Hilarious video. I thought it was hilarious. The president was voting, and he just so happened to be next to a young lady, and her boyfriend, husband, whatever he was there. And before he left the voting area, he said to the president, "Don't talk to my girl." Like, really, dude?
That was funny.
Really?
Did you get the backstory on it?
No, what's the backstory?
Well, actually, they said when they went in, she was nervous. So he did it to kind of calm her down. That's what it was. It really was a joke. It's a funny thing. When there's something funny about it,
What's
6
that?
degrees of separation. My wife went to high school with her.
Oh, the
So
girl.
now her Facebook page is blown up. Everybody like, oh, you famous, you famous.
15 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes. She got 15 minutes.
I also heard that he usually does that all the time, just to kind of make her smile,
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. So I would imagine after you say that to the president, you're
Right.
going to propose tomorrow, right? Is that what we're doing next? Like,
I said,
That was probably a
if that,
moment
wa-
in
if that
time.
if that wasn't his goal, he didn't do any favors doing that. Let's say that. Like in front of national TV, my man loved me.
You gotta propose after that. She should be proposing to him after that.
why? He got her
And he
15
wanted 2
minutes.
carrots.
It don't
One or
even
two.
matter the ring.
Oh, man. It don't matter the ring, Mr.
It don't
King.
even matter the ring. I told the president to back down.
Yeah.
You gonna
That
give me
doesn't show
something.
love, then.
That's right.
I don't know what does.
I was gonna take on the Secret Service for you, girl. And you want a ring?
I love President Obama though, because he has so much swag. Like, did you see his response? Which was very
like I had a plan on it.
You gonna be at home calling this boy? He is such a fool. Oh my gosh, he's normal.
And that's the thing. He actually has a personality.
Mm-hmm.
Right, which you typically, when you think about most politicians, you don't consider them to have much of a personality. So yeah, that is the one.
Most Democrats do have personalities.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm just saying that most Democrats have a personality. That's
well,
you can look at.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but
I would definitely not.
I'd just say President Obama is, he definitely set the bar high for us for the non-stoic.
Clinton had a personality.
Yeah, Clinton did. He was cut from another cloth too.
We can go back to name all the Democratic presidents, and even Bush had a personality too. Now I'm not going. Bush wasn't that one that didn't have a personality. We just didn't like it, but he had a personality. It just wasn't favorable.
He seemed kind of. He seemed kind of fake.
He wasn't favorable. Bush had a personality. He was that guy that was in school that you would have hung out with. You just wouldn't have voted him president or nothing like that.
Exactly.
But you would have hung out with him in school.
With him?
You don't know Bush's background. You got to see the movie W.
You ain't got to see the movie.
You can look at him.
Yeah. He was a C student. He done been to jail. Bush.
Why would I hang out with that person?
I look at it like
he's
this.
the president of the. Okay, you don't.
This a whole nother debate. But Chris Rock said it best. One of us, a C student, we can't be the manager at Burger King. But he happened to get to be the president of the United States. I mean, I'm just saying. That just says a whole lot about
his personality.
No, I ain't got to do with his personality. That says a lot about this country. It says a lot about this country.
He's the last Republican to have personality.
He was the last Republican. But
so far.
Yeah, right, so far.
2016 is coming, baby.
I mean, you say it like it's something.
Wow.
Never mind.
You
we
know
ain't gonna like
brothers
all right, we supposed to be talking about something else.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna get it. I'm not gonna get into that with
what's the next thing we talking about?
407-894-1680. 407-894-1680. Another event that's happening that's coming up in November on November 8th. There is a nonprofit business strategy seminar. They will be discussing educating, informing, alerting, and training nonprofit organizations on how to take their companies to the next level. This event is happening, like I said, November 8th. The time is going to be 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's going to be at Valencia State College West, which is off of Kirkman Road. Is what Valencia State College West is located in the Valencia's Health Sciences building. Make sure you go to bjadams.org. Is that right? bjadams.org.
Yeah.
To find out all the information to register for the event. It's being put on by BJ Adams and Associates, as well as the Nonprofit Professional Association of Orlando. They're teaming up to put on this event. It's happening again November 8th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Valencia State College West. Like I said, Valencia over off of Kirkman Road. bjadams.org to find out more information and to register for the event. Make sure you're there November 8th. It's going to be an awesome seminar put on. There's going to be 4 different speakers, I believe I was told.
Yeah, it'll be grant writing is the main thing that a lot of people are asking questions about. A lot of people have questions about grant writing, fundraising. And, if you have a 501c3, if you're trying to, get information about 501c3s, the seminar would be great for you November 8th. But the grant writing is the part that I'm going to be looking forward to because a lot of people don't know about the free money that is out there. And if they do know it exists, they don't know how to get it. So this seminar would be perfect for you to find out how to get your money right for the free.
Got it. bjadams.org. bjadams.org. Please go check that out. November 8th is the day of the event. So go to bjadams.org and find out about registration for it. So that's happening as well. We look forward to that, too. So keeping going here, the topic that I wanted to discuss tonight, that's been all over the news, is Ebola. The Ebola virus. There's the truth that's out there. There's the facts that's out there. And then, of course, there is tons and tons of conspiracy out there as well. As far as what is true and what's not true. A lot of stuff going on with Ebola. 407-894-1680 is the number to talk with us about it. I'm curious too. What are you feeling out there? Are you paranoid about Ebola? Are you paranoid about Ebola? Is it something on your radar as far as something that may potentially be coming our way? I'll even take the conspiracy. I'm curious to see, how many conspiracy theorists out there about Ebola. Do you believe it's all a hoax, as some people are suggesting as well? That's another big thing, because a lot of people are saying, this is the government trying to scare everybody, put everybody in a panic to distract us for something else that's going on, if you will. So I'm curious. I want to hear from you. What are you thinking as it relates to Ebola? 407-894-1680. Now, as far as what we know, or at least what they have told us, as some people might say.
Make sure you word that right.
I was thinking that too.
I don't like that you just be going over. Everybody knows from an artist named Tupac Shakur. He taught us, don't believe everything you read. And, that's just what this is. You just going off of what they told you. They didn't want to tell you nothing by Mike Brown. But because, they couldn't falsify that. With this, it's like, we're going to tell you about this, and we're going to tell you that this happened, and now you got to believe what you read. And so don't make it seem like what you're about to read is fact, because it is not. But you can read it still, though.
Nice introduction.
Like I said, there's a lot of conspiracies as it relates to the Ebola as well. So here's what they're telling us. Here's what they're telling us. So the transmission, they say, can only happen from direct contact with blood and bodily fluids, including but not limited to the feces, saliva, urine, vomit, and semen of a person who is sick with Ebola. Contact with objects as well, like needles and syringes that have been contaminated with the blood or bodily fluids of an infected person or infected animals. That's what they're telling us as far as transmission is concerned. It is a virus, is what it is. And just a little background on how viruses work. What viruses do is once they are in your body, viruses basically attack a cell that's already in your body. And what I like to tell my students when I talk about this is I refer to it as hijacking. Because what it does to that cell is it hijacks that cell, if you will, and then forces that cell to make viruses. So in this case, the Ebola virus would hijack a cell and then force that cell to make more Ebola viruses. And then obviously they multiply at that point, and then they multiply and do the same thing to other cells in the body. So that's how viruses work. Okay, so signs and symptoms of Ebola. The signs and symptoms that they're telling us about: fever greater than 101.5 is typical. You usually have a severe headache. There's muscle pains. There's vomiting. There's diarrhea. There's stomach pains, as well as unexplained bleeding and bruising. Now they say the symptoms can appear anywhere from 2 days to 21 days after exposure, but apparently the average is anywhere between 8-10 days. Okay, and once, assuming you recover from the Ebola virus, once you have recovered, you are no longer infectious and cannot pass that on to anyone else. So we know, especially in Africa, is where you're seeing the majority so far, where the majority of the outbreaks have taken place. I was looking at some stats today, and it says the hardest hit country so far has been Liberia. They've had over 4,000 cases, over 2,400 deaths. After Liberia, Sierra Leone is the next, over 3,400 cases, over 1,200 deaths. And then in Guinea, 1,500 cases, over 800 deaths. And it sort of dwindles from there. Of course, in the United States, we've had 1 death so far, and so far 3 cases that have occurred actually inside the United States, originated inside the United States. So that's where we are as far as cases. Let me get you guys' opinion. 407-894-1680 is the number, 407-894-1680. Give us a call. Let us know what you're thinking about Ebola. Are you paranoid about it coming to the state of Florida? Do you think it's hoax, and that this whole idea has been perpetrated by some entity that is trying to distract us from the truth? What are your comments? 407-894-1680. So tell me in the studio, what are you guys thinking about Ebola?
Well, let me go first.
Go ahead and go first, brother, because I'm going to go long.
One, after the brother died, I stopped following it.
And the other two other people didn't die?
All right, I'm sorry. The last thing I found out was a couple of nurses got it. I stopped following it.
Tell me why.
Because I'm not trying to bite into the hysteria. Because people are running around. If you've seen a lot of Facebook posts, which is one of the greatest things. Actually, you wanted to talk about posts on Instagram, Facebook. One of the greatest posts ever made in the history of social media. Like, you got people running around here. Ebola been around here for a couple weeks, and people running around here with masks on, talking about, Ebola. But AIDS been around for years, not wearing condoms.
Exactly.
So when you want to talk about your mindset, you worried about Ebola? The chances of you actually getting it, how slim that is, versus something you may do in your everyday life. So, that's just one aspect of it. But other than that, again, I don't like to feed into the mass hysteria. I don't necessarily believe it's a big hoax per se, but I do believe the coverage of it is a fear tactic. I do believe that, because to me it's just like it's like a whole and I had a conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago about this. I'm saying, okay, remember when avian flu was supposed to kill everybody? Anybody that got it, caught it, might have had it, thought about having it. What about swine flu?
Oh yeah, that's when they start wearing the mask.
Right.
Swine.
Okay, now what about swine flu?
All
right. I ain't stopped eating pork. I ain't got the flu either. Actually, I've been eating chicken since the bird flu, and I'm still fine.
I had some bacon, maple bacon. It was actually good today.
See what I'm saying? So when I say I don't buy into the mass hysteria. It's like, oh my God, come on, man.
Like you say, man, when the brother died and the two Europeans didn't die, I was like, hold on, man. And then, when Brother Real got on the brother who was writing about how the brother was getting mistreated, that let me know that, first of all, Republicans are doing this. No, I'm just joking. But still. No.
I was like, I want to hear this.
No, but it to me, when they're blocking out stories, because I'm that person that I go online every day, 6 o'clock in the morning, to find out what stories are going on. When I go on, I find out what's going on around the world. And when I saw that people in Africa was making posts saying, hey, we need to let people around the world know that this is fake. And then I go on my Facebook and my social media sites and I post these websites that you can go and look at it where I saw. And then I go back 2 hours later and that entire site that I went to is just gone now. That lets me know, y'all, they're hiding something and they don't want the truth to be out there. It's just like when Beyonce came to Orlando and she fell down the steps. And you went on YouTube and you put the video up, and then 2 hours later, your entire video is gone because they don't want you to know that Beyonce fell down the steps in Orlando, Florida. Now the same thing is going on with this Ebola thing. They don't want you to see the post of people saying, hey, this is a hoax. This is not real. They're just scaring you to do whatever they want you to do. They want you to look to the left because they ain't doing right. I've already paid for that quote. Please don't try to steal it.
What gets me is Ebola, I swear, wasn't that a big topic a couple of months ago? And it went silent for a little bit. And now it's back, and every morning you wake up and you check the news and another person got it. And another person is sick, and another one. And, I mean... If
it ain't ISIS, it's Ebola.
It's always going to be something.
It's one of those two right now. It's one of those. You're going to hear about ISIS, and then you're going to hear about Ebola. First it was the Taliban, and then it was swine flu. Now it's ISIS and Ebola. Soon it'll be the NWO, and who knows what they'll create. Who knows? It's a fear tactic, man, and that's what they're doing. They're basically just trying to scare Republicans.
Only Republicans.
Yeah, because Democrats looking at like, swines and
wink,
birds. And, yeah, okay. Jesus got my back. Because that's how the Democrats are main God, based. Mainly.
So are Republicans.
No, Republicans is actually more so.
Yes.
The conservative side is actually more religious based than the liberals.
But they
talk
shoot
more
and kill
about
animals.
it.
Let's
They speak more about
let's say that. Let's speak more about it. Let's say that.
Yeah.
On average.
None of
and I'm not talking... Well, I'm not talking politician, but on average, your average Republican is probably going to at least attend church. They probably don't attend a Pentecostal church, so they don't hear it like you hear it, you know, quote unquote. But they certainly are, you know, Bible thumping people, we'll call it.
The Bible, no. I wouldn't call it no Bible thumping.
The average.
The Bible.
The average.
Multiple.
Again, it's not Pentecostal.
Call them churchgoers. Let's say that.
It is not Pentecostal,
They go
but
to
you
a
know, it is for what it is, whatever.
No,
they
I ain't
think.
just talking about Pentecostal. I'm just saying
They go to a building.
Right.
That's what they do. They go to a building, and what
You got
happens
nothing to do
in
with
that
being Pentecostal,
building, we don't know.
Presbyterian, ain't none of that. You just go.
But nobody believes.
Don't call me no
in
Bible
Ebola
thumper
stuff.
if you don't follow it.
And that's the beauty of social media. We can actually get out and let it be known that we don't believe in Ebola stuff, so they're going to have to come with something better to try to control us. It's difficult these days to try the mass media to believe what you want them to believe because of social media. And that's why they blocked Mike Brown out of the social media and out of the news, because they don't want nobody to know about that. Versus ISIS and Ebola, they want everybody to know about that.
You were going to say something, Jamba?
I don't think it's fake. Honestly, I agree that it's a scare tactic. I agree that the media is taking things and, you know, showing us what they want to show us. Just like, I mean, this is normal conversation we've had. Like, this happens all the time. It's going to continue to happen. They're going to continue to take advantage of that because people don't like to read. And instead they like to see things. And, you know, however you can build something up to be bigger than what it is, they're going to go ahead and go for it. But I don't think it's fake. I think they're, like, it probably, like, just like swine flu, it was a very low chance that you can get it because it wasn't everywhere, but...
What evidence do you have that it's real besides the fact that they told you?
What do you mean? Did I ever come encounter with
I'm
somebody?
just
Or
asking you, what evidence?
have I fought myself?
I'm not asking that. My question is simple. What evidence do you have that it's real besides the fact that they told you?
Well, that's where you get information from, is from other people. So are you looking for a website that I can send you to?
That's
or?
not a person. That's a website.
So you're waiting for me to tell you about a person who has Ebola and
I
fought
mean,
it
any
and can tell me personal...
Any information that you have that didn't come from them.
That's just a bad argument, because even from your side, the information is still secondhand, if you will.
No, my information comes from my mind. I ain't gonna believe these idiots talking about that it's some Ebola. That's my mind.
But that's fine. But my point is, neither one. You know, for those that argue that it's a hoax, it's not real. The same argument for believing that can be made for the reasons why to believe it's real. So it's just a matter of personal opinion that you're going to come up with as far as what you believe to be true or not. I mean, what we can verify and exist is whether or not this current event is all a hoax or not. We do know the Ebola virus does exist. And so that's not in question. But yeah, I mean, you know, people are welcome to debate whether or not it's as serious as a problem as they're certainly telling us it is at this particular time. The thing that I don't like is coming from just like a scientific perspective. Is I don't like the innuendo about it's how bad it's spreading, and you know, be careful because it's going to go airborne any minute now.
Right.
That's
what I'm
to me
about.
that's the problem that I have, because you know, even I'll call my background limited, but for argument's sake, but just generally speaking, you know, viruses, while they do mutate, the mutations don't necessarily, you know, they don't occur overnight. So for a virus to mutate that was never airborne, it's been in existence now since the mid-1970s is the first when they first discovered it. So it's been in existence for quite a number of years, and has yet to mutate and go airborne in all of those years. So for now that it's, you know, it's kind of getting some pub, we'll call it, to say, oh, it's now going to go airborne in a matter of days, I just think is unnecessarily scaring people. When that's just not how it works. It's just, you know, viruses aren't, they don't get, they're not direct contact on Monday and then by Wednesday they're airborne. It's just not the way it works. It's called evolution. It does exist. And so evolution does occur, but evolution does not happen overnight. So we're certainly not at that point, at least right now. And that's the thing that bothers me, is just all that kind of scare, innuendo, It was clear from, looking back at the articles on the 2 nurses who treated Thomas Duncan that got sick, the protocols that were in place weren't effective, and even the CDC, while they won't come out and say that, you can see in the fact that they've now changed the protocols to determine, okay, so what they were using wasn't effective. And while they're not going to admit it, they're at least changing the protocols because they recognize they made a mistake. And some of those mistakes, the nurses were, some of their skin was exposed when they were treating Thomas Duncan. Why? If we know this thing is, transmitted by direct contact, why is anybody going in his room who has exposed skin? That's just bad service. You're not protecting those people when you're exposing their skin, knowing that one of them was one was a black lady, and the other lady, Nina Pham is her name, so I would assume she's Asian, whether that's Chinese.
Sounds Vietnamese.
Vietnamese, I'm not really sure, but certainly she's Asian. So you see what I'm saying? But they've changed the protocols now, and they've strengthened the protocols. Now, while they can't force every hospital to follow these protocols, we hope that they will and stay covered. I hope no nurse meets another Ebola patient and goes in there without having their body fully covered and following some procedures that will hopefully prevent that, hazmat suits, all that. But I think what just bothers me is that fear tactic that they're putting on the people, especially at this point. We've had one case that was a direct contact. The man came from Africa. He was holding people that actually had Ebola. Not a surprise. He got Ebola. So I mean, and then he came over here. We didn't catch it. And he came over to the country, got Ebola. 2 nurses have it now. These nurses were treating him. And they were treating him, again, with exposed skin, knowing that it gets transmitted by direct contact. So, again, is it a shocker? No. You would hope, I'm sure they did everything they could. But, I mean, at the end of the day, their skin was exposed. Even the hospital, it came out, wasn't even treating his waist properly, or even his blood. They said that his blood was, when it was transmitted via normal channels, which they have a system where they kind of like how you go to the bank. You put it in a tube, it shoots down to the tube to the department so that they can test it. And that's how they were transmitting his blood, shooting it down the tube with everybody else's blood. So procedures weren't in place. Even his waste, they say they weren't even properly disposing. Like I said, and some of the signs and symptoms are vomit and diarrhea. So they weren't even properly disposing of his vomit and diarrhea. Apparently that was stacking somewhere before it was being disposed of properly. So again, they weren't following the proper protocols, so they put themselves at risk. But so far, anyway, his family was, I believe they released his family that he came in contact, and they have passed that 21-day mark. A lot of the hospital personnel are coming up on their 21-day mark soon here. So it looks like so far we've got these 2 specific cases, and both ladies so far are doing well in their treatment. And so it would seem that they're certainly looking like they may come out on the other side of this thing. Okay, so why all of the fear tactics when, in all honesty, we really haven't had an issue with this? The first person came from Africa. The other 2 were treating him and not wearing protective clothing, but we caught it early, and both of them are, so far anyway, being treated well enough that it's, at least they're not giving them the doom and gloom factor as far as what's going to happen to them.
That's a great question. 2 reasons why this is going on. One, they want you to spend money, because everything that you're doing, whether you're buying masks, whatever you're doing to prepare yourself so that you won't get Ebola, you're going to spend some money. And the second thing is they're preparing us for something real that's going to happen. Something major is going to happen, and that one's is going to be real. And those of us who think that it's a hoax, we're not going to take the real one serious. And those of us who take this one serious, they're going to really take the one that's coming, that's big. It's going to be real and really kill a lot of people. That's the one that they're preparing us for, dude. Because you got to think, like you said, why are they just pushing this nonsense? And it ain't even really, they don't even talk about AIDS like that. It's just, go get checked. Know your status. If you got it, you just got it.
Well,
but
that's
know your status.
Because AIDS, generally speaking, AIDS has gotten to that point where a lot of the diseases are, like diabetes. Diabetes is at that point where there's a treatment plan. You follow the treatment plan. There really shouldn't be. There's not a lot of interruption in your life. And so the same thing has happened to AIDS. There's the treatment plans out there. If you follow the treatment plan,
they didn't treat AIDS like they treated
this. There's a lot of
Dist,
interruption in your life.
It wasn't oh my gosh, you need to hurry up and know your status because AIDS is out there and people are dying. It was not such an outcry and a mass disturbance for AIDS as it is for Ebola. I was alive before AIDS was around. I'm that old.
Because
no, you're not that old.
Well, you know.
I think there was. I would think
there was in the mid to late 80s. It was.
There was
in the mid to late 80s. It was like a big media thing.
The difference is though, when AIDS first came out, it was sold as this disease that was for homosexuals.
Right.
So if you weren't homosexual, it was like
for them.
if you weren't homosexuals, then they were like, oh, you don't really need to worry about it because you're not homosexuals, and that's the difference, and because at that time. Not so much now, but at that time, I would say that, homosexuality was still, that thing that people did and you didn't talk about, if you will. So when these people were, when that's kind of where the first cases, at least the reported cases were focusing, that wasn't like, that's not mass hysteria because they're telling me, oh, it's homosexual. I'm heterosexual, so I ain't got to worry about it. That was the difference. Whereas, obviously this doesn't matter. You get it. So, but I would just like to see, a pullback on the hysteria, because when you look at, it as an overall picture, as I like to do, it's really, it's a bad disease if you get it, but because it's only being transmitted by direct contact, if you're very careful about how you interact with people who have Ebola or who have traveled to Africa, there really isn't an issue that you need to be concerned with at this point, because it is pretty much isolated so far. And even now hopefully, now the government has kind of stepped up now, and the president's created an Ebola czar. I didn't really like that idea. I didn't like the Ebola czar thing, but he's creating an Ebola czar. I put it on Twitter the other day when they announced it. His name is Ron Clan. I guess I'm assuming how you say his last name.
Whoa. Ron Clan?
Klain, brother. I don't know. I'm just.
And what is Ron Clan doing?
He is. What I put on it, Twitter was, I thought it was a joke, and the reason why I said that was because he is a lawyer, is what he is. And he actually used to be chief of staff for Vice President Gore as well as Vice President Biden. So they brought a lawyer in to monitor how the government is handling the Ebola situation. And the reason why I call that a joke is because I think if you're going to have obviously this is a medical issue. I think if you're going to deal with a medical issue and you're going to create an Ebola czar, I think that the Ebola czar should have some kind of medical background so that he understands medically what's happening here. Not that he has to go and obviously he's a lawyer, he can go hire some talk to doctors and figure out and get their side of it, but
how does
I think
he know
having
they're right though? If he's a lawyer, you can go hire some doctors, but you should have some kind of background and know, okay, yeah, you're all right, doc, 'cause that's what I got also. But my biggest problem with that is that, so we have a family member of the Klan family that is actually head of Ebola czar. Wow, that's scary. That's scary right there, dude.
I think the question that needs to be asked is, who owes him a favor?
How did he's a Klan? He's a family member.
No,
I'm in the Adams family. He in the Klan family.
But just like you said, a lawyer, the lawyer gets the job.
What's his name?
First of all, let's look at it like this: a job was created, right?
Yeah,
they created a job.
Yes, there was no Ebola.
So somebody had to get paid to do this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. Who owed him a favor? That's the question.
So he is a Klan family member. He's born into this, brother. You are a Hester family member. He is. What's his name? Johnny Clan. Ron Clan.
I'm assuming, again, it's Klain, so that's how I pronounce it. Anyway.
It's Clan. Okay, we'll stick with Clan because it rolls off the tongue better than Klon. But anyway, he is a Klan family member. Now he's handling the Ebola czar that's killing black people. Wow. Okay. Well.
Did you all hear about that story where that guy, he was actually forced not to come back to work because his parents are from Liberia? He's never been there, never been to the country, no, nothing like that. But because of everyone's kind of freaking out, and I guess they were getting a lot of reports about him just being in the office.
That sounds about right.
I wish they would ship us back to Africa.
That sounds about right. The racism is real, people. It's not over.
No.
So you heard my parents were from Liberia, but I've been here my whole life. But I might give you Ebola. See, that's why I stopped watching.
That's hysteria.
That's why I stopped watching.
That's the
First
hysteria.
of all, is that legal? Somebody got a lawsuit. They need to call Klan and get the lawsuit going. That's what they need to do.
I doubt Brother Klan helped somebody from Liberia.
No, because see, that's an easy case. He's like, oh, that ain't nothing. We can contact the legal department. We'll have a check by the end of the week.
No, they'll send him on back to Liberia. You know what? The Klan family has said you might want to go back to Liberia.
Not without they piece of that check.
Well, again, I think Ebola is czar if that's how they want to handle it, and I saw some research on that too. So czars aren't, it's not an unpopular thing. A lot of presidents do it. But if he's going to do that, I would just think you should put somebody who has some kind of background in the issue at hand, which it's a medical issue. I think a medical person would be the best person. I mean, essentially they were looking for a great manager, and, I suppose he was that. He was the chief of staff for the two different vice presidents. So maybe he's a great manager. But I'm sure, there's thousands of hospitals across this country. Thousands of schools with medical people that work in them. I'm sure there is one out of thousands and thousands of people that has proven themselves to be not only a great doctor, but a great manager too.
I
just don't understand.
They were not owed the favor.
I just don't.
I mean, come on.
They were not in the Klan family.
He was chief of staff for the last two presidents.
Chief of staff for Gore and Biden.
For Gore and Biden. Now, all of a sudden, he gets a job that's created, and they got the Democrats in the White House. Come on, man. That's not a favor if I ain't seen one.
If that ain't a Klan
it may
favor.
be a favor. It's
he's
still a bad
family
move.
member.
I ain't say it's a bad. I mean, the favor is bad in itself.
He is in the Klan family.
First of all, I mean, somebody do some research about this. It's a created job. And over the next few months, does any reports come out? Does anybody make any phone calls? Or is he sitting in his office every day practicing law, getting a free check from the government?
Well, he's probably directing things, because if he was a part of
what is he directing? His law office?
Well, I mean...
Well, at the moment, we know we got the two different individuals. They're in hospital. They're quarantined. So what we're doing, obviously, the government has implemented anybody coming from any of those infected countries that are having the scares right now. They're directing them through 5 different airports across the country. And so when individuals coming from those countries come into our country, they go to 5 different airports. They're doing fever checks on those individuals, and anyone who's deemed to have a fever that seems a little out of place, we'll call it, is not being allowed or going to be quarantined, so that they don't come in the country and potentially infect anybody. So I'm sure as a part of his job will be the management of those processes in place.
So what you saying, he just turn his TV on to CNN and get all the information he needs, what you telling me?
I hope he comes up with a better, because you can take an aspirin before you get to the check line and get that fever down a little bit.
Yes.
You can just have a fever because you got a fever. You might not have Ebola.
But until we know,
have a fever, boy.
But until we know,
Exactly.
we're gonna keep you quarantined.
Is the dog still
know.
quarantined?
We'll have
Did we
ice
hear anything
packs
about that?
taped to their chest.
I believe that dog is still quarantined. Of Nina Pham, I believe you're talking about. Yeah, I
the
believe her
nurse
dog
was-
is still being quarantined as well.
Wow, so the dog has Ebola too?
Well,
We
the
don't know
dog
yet.
potentially animals can carry the Ebola virus too. Yes.
I seen a movie like that.
Well, you kind of figure.
Legend.
I know we don't typically, on average, we don't
Outbreak.
typically do this, but a lot of people like to kiss their animals and they'll kiss
Don't
their
say a lot
animals
of
in the
people.
mouth
Don't say
and
a lot
stuff
of
like
people.
that.
Don't say a lot of people. Use the correct word.
I do. I love
So-
my dog.
So potentially, if she's one of those types of person, she could have certainly transferred over the Ebola virus, and when they unintentionally, we'll call it swap saliva.
Sound like the Umbrella Corporation is up and running.
And the conspiracy brother is definitely in the building.
I'm just saying. This Ebola czar sounds like Umbrella.
What was the name of the movie that came out? It was just a couple of years ago that had Matt Damon and Gwyneth Paltrow in it.
Who?
I cannot think of it. And Lawrence Fishburne was in it.
Oh, I know him.
You know who Matt Damon and Gwyneth Paltrow is.
Maybe
Man,
the
stop
people
playing.
know 407-894-1680. I don't know,
Skinny,
brother.
pale.
It was what was the name of it?
What was the point of the movie?
Well, it was It was basically an outbreak happened. You know, they traced it back to
monkeys.
No, it was like a.
Oh, you're talking about
the bat and the pig.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. Contagion.
Contagion. That was the name of it.
Yeah, Contagion.
Okay. See, sounds like you remember. She got it from the something she ate. She ate a pig. She was overseas. She was in the
yeah, it was a butcher.
Yeah, she was in the southeast, and they were butchering raw pigs. And like I say, the movie was kind of told in reverse. So in the end, they traced it like
it's a really good film.
Yes, it was actually real good.
It was good. I'll give it to you.
Some back droppings dropped down into the pig sty. The pig ate it. Whatever happened, pig ended up in the kitchen of his casino. She ate something. She got it. Coughed. Passed it to the waiter. Yada the case may be. Her what do you call it?
Everybody died.
Yeah. Her well, actually, no, her husband didn't.
Her husband didn't die.
But the man she was cheating with, he got it and died.
Right.
Horrible. And then it kind of just spread. Boom,
It was a good movie,
but we are not there with Ebola.
No, we're not. No. But that's my point.
That's why we always age.
But that's my point. It's like movies like that. Say like now, if you want to get to like Brother King, we talking about now that movie was a couple of years ago. Now all of a sudden, bam.
Well, that's why I tell you they put these things out to warn you, to let you know that we coming to lower the population, and this is one of the ways that we lower the population.
Now, I would say this: if you've kind of been paying attention, every few years, you do hear people talk a lot about the Earth is overpopulated, and the Earth itself can't sustain the amount of people and continue.
And that's why people buying land on the moon now.
They've been doing that though. They got condos on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm serious.
You didn't like the way you said that. Okay.
I'm so like. Did you? What was the guy name that paid a lot of money to go fly to the moon? What was his name? He flew to the moon with the astronauts. I forgot the guy's name.
Nobody ever went. But I believe you're talking about who you're not talking about. What's his face?
I don't know his name.
He's
a white guy. He's rich. He's older, dude. He's like in his 60s.
I remember hearing
flew to the moon with the astronauts.
Are you talking about Richard Branson?
I don't know his name. He's a white guy.
Well, Branson was trying to build a rocket or something, wasn't he?
Well, they're still building rockets. Actually, they actually got a contract from the government within the next 10 or 15 years. He has the contract to begin flying astronauts back and forth to the space station, But yeah, no human other than those the astronauts that have been to the moon have gone to the moon.
All right.
All right. It is that time. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Real Family Talk.
We'll talk to you next week. This
Jeremy,
is J. Real.
a.k.a. Younger Brother. Tune in next week from 9 to 10 p.m. and every Wednesday from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOKB 1680, your urban empowerment and inspiration station. See you.
My brother, my brother.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.
Once was in sin, didn't I?